Good morning, everyone.
Say Johnny baptized me. I say roll, Jordan, roll, roll, Jordan, roll. My soul rises, Lord, for the year, Jordan, roll. Well, some say John was a Baptist. Some say John was a Jew. But I say John was a preacher. My Bible says so too.
It's sideways.
Like that?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So, hold on just a second. So there's one more song that I would like to show y'all. This is a message to the lost sheep that God is coming back for.
Gathering.
And my name is Crystal, and this is Whitney on the other
Hello.
screen.
Making coffee.
Gotta have some coffee this morning. So here's another song to the people. Hold on just a second.
Frozen.
Okay, sorry everyone. I don't know what happened, but here's a song I would like to show y'all. So give me just a second. See if this works. Oh wait, salvation. That's what it is. See if I can connect it.
No.
Wow.
Sideways.
I'm doing it off my tablet now.
Hey, just started over.
Goodwill to all men, here with the angels we sing. And as he reigns from above, may he reign in our hearts, our sovereign Lord. Oh, Emmanuel, God with us. Oh,
Let's read. So I would like to read Jeremiah. Basically, everything that's going on, we are in Jacob's trouble. We are in the time of distress right now with everything that's going on. And so I want to read why basically these things that are taking place. And Elohim, God, is allowing these things to happen for a reason. So I want to read to let you know why these things are happening. All right. So Whitney, at 50,
Do what?
we're going to go ahead and start you want to start in Jeremiah 50?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Jeremiah 50. The word that Yahweh, it's in Hebrew for God, spoke concerning Babel.
And what is Babel? We know Babel had it like a tower that didn't get completed.
Yeah.
And Babylon has to do with the word confusion. So.
And so this is Elohim, God, speaking to Jeremiah. The word that Yahweh spoke concerning Babel, concerning the land of the Kassadites, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare among the nations, and let it be heard, and lift up a banner. Let it be heard, do not conceal it. So he's saying, Jeremiah, speak and do not hide the words that I have given you. Babel shall be taken, Bel shall be put to shame.
You want to tell them what Bel is?
Yeah, like,
Bel is a false god that people in times of old, like in Egypt, Rome, this is a false god that they worshipped, and it was known as their god being a sun god. Okay, and that's why our calendar has like a Monday and a Sunday and a Wednesday. Like all the days of the week are named after the sun and the moon and the planets because that's what people back in that time worshipped. And the guys that came up with our calendar, they worshipped false gods. And like seriously, everything in our culture goes back to Rome. Like our calendar, for instance, it was created by Pope Gregory,
yeah.
and that's what it's called, the Gregorian calendar. And Constantine came along and mixed in his pagan ways into Christianity, which this is even talked about in Daniel. Daniel was told by, I guess, one of the archangels, that Michael or Gabriel, that there would come a time when a man would come and change times and laws. Times has to do with the calendars, it has to do with the appointed times in the Word, and the laws have to do with the Torah and the Word. And so he came, and not only did he create this calendar, he forced the people to follow after it. And he also, anybody that would not convert into Christianity was killed. There, I have a book actually right here
And
that
forced
tells you
forth.
all of the history. And there is many, many places in this book where people's children were taken from them. And if they did not convert into Christianity, they wouldn't ever see their children again. Like, they forced baptisms. Yeah, Constantine. Yeah, in the time of Constantine. So, all right.
All
I wanted
right,
to give you all a little bit of history. So when Elohim is talking about he's going to punish Bel, he's going to
understand.
punish him. Yeah, and I guess he's going to cause things to happen where people are put in a situation where they realize, like, because the one way to punish Bel is to cause the people to stop worshiping Bel.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to continue to read. Jeremiah 50, verse 1. Say Babel shall be taken, Bel be put to shame. Merodach shall be broken, her images shall be put to shame, her idols shall be.
Crystal,
Yeah.
hey, do you have a lot of stuff connected on your Wi-Fi?
Um, I don't know
Like a
why.
lot of, because you're cutting out. Like your signal's not real good.
Okay.
You have tablets and phones, and probably, like, I guess if you unconnect some of that, maybe you'll have a better signal.
Okay. What's wrong with this thing? Is it better?
I don't think it's your tablet. I think you probably just have too much connected to your Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
Like your phone, like other tablets. I know you got a bunch of stuff connected.
I don't know. Let me see.
Maya.
Yeah, she's watching Minnie Mouse. Yeah, I don't have anything else. I mean, oh goodness.
I don't know. Maybe if you take it off of Wi-Fi, maybe your signal will be better.
If I do that, then I'll cut the video off.
It will?
Yeah, because I've already tried to do that.
All right. Well, then we'll just deal with it.
I mean, is it that bad right now?
I mean, yeah, like you keep like your voice keeps like cutting out or slowing down.
Okay, that's weird. Is that better?
Yeah, you keep freezing up a little bit though.
Having difficulties.
Yeah. Try going on the tablets and the TVs or whatever that are connected and unconnecting it.
Yeah, because I just unconnected my phone. Where is my eyes dancing? Okay, let's see. Hey, baby.
All right, well, I guess I can talk or something while you're
Yeah,
doing that. So we don't just have people, sitting and waiting, I guess.
yeah. You
Um,
finish reading
I'm gonna
Jeremiah,
go,
or tell me
I'm
about
gonna
your.
go into of history
Yeah.
while we're waiting. So,
Go.
okay, here we go. Here's a little bit of history. This is a book, and it goes all the way back to Genesis, but I don't know, it might be backwards, but it'll tell you like the year, and they kept like Jewish people kept a record of everything that happened. Um, Little bits and pieces. Let's see. A disciple of Megid of became rabbi in Brody. This is a part of where he stayed for 50 years until his death. A law was issued in Austria that required all rabbis to study philosophy, preach in the local language. So they had to, like, they couldn't speak their Hebrew anymore. They had to teach. I mean, they probably could, but they couldn't teach. They had to teach their language. So they had to switch their language over to the local language. And also required Jewish children to attend Christian schools. These laws were instituted after the lobbying by one of the Maskilim, who had also proposed that beards and traditional Jewish dress be outlawed. And many traditional Jewish writings, including the Talmud, were banned and censored. Okay. And then that was in the year of 1820, and that was what was going on in Austria. 1776.
So is my video? Is it
You're
still
good now,
okay? Um,
I think. You're still kind of cutting out. Crap.
really?
Yeah, I would just try to keep it still. You might have better signal in your room.
I'm in my room.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We'll continue the video.
Okay. So I guess we'll go Jeremiah 50, verse 3, real quick. For a nation shall come up against her from the north, which shall make her land waste, and none shall dwell in it. They shall flee, they shall go, both men and beast. So this makes me think of war. You know it?
Yeah, That's definitely what it is. It's a nation coming against. What verse are you in?
3.
Okay, it's 3. For a nation shall come up against her. Her? Who's the her? That's
Babel.
Israel.
Sounds like Babel.
No, yeah, it is Babel. My bad.
For a nation shall
It's
come
Babel.
from the north, which shall make her land
Which
waste.
shall make
Yeah.
the land waste, and none shall dwell in it. They shall flee, they shall go, both man and beast. Verse 4.
In those days, and at that time, declares Jehovah, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, weeping as they come, and seek Jehovah their Elohim. They shall ask the way to Zion, their faces toward it. Come and let us join ourselves to Jehovah in an everlasting covenant, never to be
Never to be never to be forgotten.
forgotten. So all this stuff and chaos that's going on, God has not forgotten his people. He's gonna come.
And his covenant is never to be forgotten.
Right,
Okay,
right.
let's read.
My people have been wandering sheep.
Meaning they're like wandering in the desert for 40 years. Wandering. They're lost. Like they don't know where they're going.
That's us.
Yeah. And like this whole book, this is crazy. This tells you how many times like people have been moved around throughout centuries. I mean, people coming over to the U.S. from Europe, and then people coming over here taken as slaves to the U.S. from Ethiopia and Africa and all of that, and all the wars that have happened. That's what he means by my people have been wandering sheep.
Slavery.
Yeah.
They were forced to come to the U.S. They were forced to leave their own country, their land.
Yeah. These people in Europe were forced to convert to Christianity. So before they even came over to the United States, they were forced to think a certain way and to do certain things.
That's
When you
true.
know your history, when you know the truth, you're free. Because then you're not over here going, oh, this is white thing, this is black thing. Nah, this
Yeah,
is everybody's thing.
this is everybody's. We all have the same history. Like, history has been taken from us.
Did you know that?
Just blacks weren't just enslaved, whites weren't just enslaved. Pretty much every race has been enslaved in different times.
Yeah. But we've been taught like what slavery is. We've been showed pictures about what was done to the people that came over here from Ethiopia who were taken over here in Africa. And we've been taught that so that we don't think that we're slaves. So that we continue to be in this mindset of, oh, I can have a house, I'm free, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like, no, free is when you can go on a land, build a house, not pay taxes. Like you really got to look at the true definition of free in the word.
Yeah.
And it's knowing the truth.
That's true. And it's crazy because, right, it's free. And that's the thing, like, a lot of people think,
That is true, Todd. Can you see his comments?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, nobody's free. Like, for real. But you can be free on the inside.
That's true.
That's why many people
says,
were singing
well,
Roll, Jordan, Roll, and they were singing,
wade in
you
the water.
know, wade in the water, because they knew that one day Elohim is going to come and trouble the waters. And he's doing that. Look at Hurricane Katrina. Look at the hurricane that hit Houston. Actually, really, it's considered a tropical storm, which I've actually been through a tropical storm, and it wasn't nowhere near what this is doing. Freedom. No, you.
Here, you hear me?
What?
I'm gonna play that song real quick. Freedom.
Yeah.
Katrina.
You think the weather's man-made?
No.
I
God,
think what we do on Earth does cause like certain things to happen with the weather because what we do directly, we're going to be like Elohim is not going to just sit aside and let us just run wild and not do anything. Like that's why a hurricane hit.
yeah,
But
God
as for
has control over the waters.
some
God
people
has
say
control
like
there.
there's something that's gone like around that like the government has control over over the weather. Like there's people that believe that. And I just think, that's just another tactic of Satan trying to be God and claim that he's the one changing the weather patterns and all this. I don't believe that people have that much power. That's just my own opinion though.
All right, well, we'll go back to Jeremiah 50, verse 6. My people have been wandering sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray, turning them away on the mountains. So with a lot of that, like people going to these pastors and preachers and, even maybe some other people that are teaching them and they're going in the wrong direction. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. All who found them have devoured them, and their adversaries have said, "We are not guilty," because they have sinned against Yahweh, the home of righteousness, and the expectation of their fathers, Yahweh. So this also makes me think of, well, how God says in the word, we've been led astray by our ancestors, and because Israel continued to sin and transgress against God. So it's basically history being passed down to us with us not knowing the truth and our ancestors being forced to convert to Christianity and these other religions. So it just makes sense, like why history has been basically taken from us and we were only given very little of history going to school and what we were told by men.
Yeah.
Not my, because the thing is, we got to turn from what our ancestors did and turn to God.
Oh.
So, yeah, as complete.
It says
Thank
that
you, Todd, you're right. That's the truth. All right, go ahead, Whit.
well, he said, who does the Bible state rules over this world? That's Elohim, but he has control over everything. But at the same time, he said the ruler of this world is coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
a difference between ruling the world and having power over it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing we definitely need to keep in mind, too. And that's why all this fighting against one another and all the stuff that is happening, because at the same time, God is doing what he said he was
Todd,
going
do
to.
you just want Todd, do you just want us to invite you so you can talk?
Oh, that would be cool. Can we do that?
Yeah, 'cause we can just invite you. I mean, the thing that people need to start talking about stuff. Like,
Together,
we're in
coming together and
a time
talking
where
about.
everybody's so stuck to their phone. You can have people in a room and they're all on their phone, not talking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can
That's
come
true.
back to like talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
so if you want to be invited, just let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Um, Jeremiah 50:7. All who found them have devoured them, and their adversaries have said, "We are not guilty," because they have sinned
Mm.
against Yahweh and the home of righteousness and the expectation of their fathers, Yahweh. Flee from the midst of Babel. Come out of the land of the Kassadites, and be as rams before a flock. For look, I am stirring up and bringing up against Babel an assembly of great nations
Wow.
and of the north. Wow, and they shall array themselves.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Is that talking about the Northern Kingdom? The Northern and Southern Kingdom? Is
Wow.
this talking about Israel? Like there was a Northern and a Southern Kingdom. And
That
I believe this is talking about the Northern Kingdom. Dang it, do you have a page that shows that? The Northern and the Southern Kingdom of the tribes?
Ooh. Wait, let me
If you
see.
don't, I can look
Oh
at
yeah,
both.
yeah. I do. I do. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna show you and you tell me like what you're looking for.
We need like when it was divided in the, like 500 something BC.
Oh, you know what?
You know what? I think I have it in this big maroon book, honestly.
Yeah, it's probably in there.
It would make sense. Let me just find it real quick. Universal dispersion. Let's see.
Yeah, see. I don't.
You know what? I'll just find it on my tablet.
Oh
You go
yeah,
ahead and.
I can look it up too. Forgot I'm on my tablet.
This is the thing about reading the word. You got to take your time. You
Mm.
know, you can't just be like, I'm gonna read these 3 chapters, and then I read them, and it's like I didn't learn anything. Like you got to take your time when you're reading. Okay. You know what? I can show.
Here, I have it right here.
Hey, I'll just show a quick video and it'll explain it.
Here, I have it.
Well, I can show a video and it'll show what happened. It's like a short little clip and it'll explain like where the tribes went and all that. Because we keep going over that, but I don't know if the people really understand what we're trying to
And
say.
yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
So, give me 1 second while I pull this up.
Hey Todd, do you want to be invited into the video?
Oh yeah, we asked you if you wanted to be invited. Like you can get on here and talk. Because we're all about, talking.
We're all about talking.
No, I'm just being like, everybody comments and writes big long messages on Facebook and stuff. It's like, we need to be just talking. Oh, well, she'll invite you and then you just accept the invitation.
How do I do that, Whitney? Oh, okay.
The same way you invited me.
Okay, Todd. But I don't have him as a friend.
It should pop up though, because
Okay.
crap.
Let me
I hope
see.
it
Okay. Maya, enough. Okay. So I go to add person, right?
is. Yeah, or invite.
And I can type in his name. But it's not popping up. It says no results. Can you do it? Can you invite?
No, it won't freaking let me. This is crap.
All right, Todd, add me as a friend and I can invite you in.
Yeah, but then you gotta log off. Oh, you know what?
I have my tablet.
I wonder if you can like use your phone
I have my tablet.
to
If he adds me, I can just do it that way.
just I'll be in and out because I'm at work.
Oh,
But I'll be okay. Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Maybe later. Maybe we'll do that later.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the northern.
Oh,
Back to the northern and southern kingdom of Israel. About to show y'all a video. Okay, let's see. Just give me 1 second.
all right. Okay, so while she's looking for that, I'll finish reading Jeremiah 50, verse 9. For look, I am stirring up and bringing up against Babel an assembly of great nations from a land of the north, and they shall array themselves against her. From there she shall be captured. Their arrows are like those of a mighty skilled men, not returning empty-handed. Asdim shall become plunder.
That reminds me of Joseph.
Yeah.
In Genesis 49, if y'all want to go read that, the blessing that was given to him by his father. Talking about what would happen to his tribe in the last days, like at the end of the age. Here we go.
Man, and so many problems with this tablet.
Okay, let's see.
Casdim and Casdim shall be plundered. Is Casdim a place, or I have to see right now?
You're cutting out.
Again? Oh, why is
It's just like, you're not cutting, you're going in and out. Like your words are like, I don't know.
It's really weird.
Try leaving your phone still. That's what I would do. Because it seems like it works better when you leave it still.
Okay, so let me finish reading. And Casdim shall become plunder. All who plunder her shall satisfy them, declares Jehovah. Because you were glad, because you rejoice, you who plunder my inheritance. Wow.
And Elohim's people are his inheritance. Elohim's people are his inheritance.
His inheritance, yeah.
Israel.
And
Yeah.
It's
So he's like, you took my inheritance. I'm going to repay you. Basically.
So it says, because you have grown fat like a heifer, threshing grain, and you gnaw like stolons. Your mother shall be greatly ashamed. She who bore you shall be humiliated. Look, the last of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land in a desert. Because of the wrath of Jehovah, she shall not be inhabited, but she shall be deserted, all of it. Everyone passing by Babel shall be astonished and whistle at all her plagues. Arrange yourselves against Babel all around. All you who bend the arrow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Jehovah. Shout against her all around. She has given.
Wow. Makes me think of Joshua, was it chapter 6, where it says to shout and then the walls fell down?
We'll go to that after this too.
Yeah.
She has given her hand, her foundations have fallen. So this is how far that, the people don't have a relationship, how far they are from God. He's saying right here, he's saying, shout against her all around. And she has given her hand, her foundations have fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Jehovah.
Okay, hey, I got the video describing the northern and southern kingdom of Israel.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. I have to turn my phone around. This is retarded. Facebook won't let me turn my camera around, which is,
Oh, that's weird.
why is it not?
Kingdom of southern Judah. He was
There we
called
go.
as a prophet to warn Israel about the severe consequences of breaking their covenant with God through their idolatry and injustice. And he even predicted that the empire of Babylon would come as God's servant to bring this judgment on Israel by destroying Jerusalem, taking the people into exile. And sadly, his words became reality. Jeremiah lived through the siege and destruction of Jerusalem and witnessed the exile personally. Now, this book came into existence in a really interesting way. Chapter 36 tells us that after 20 years of Jeremiah's preaching in Jerusalem, God called him to collect all of his sermons and poems and essays and commit them to writing, which Jeremiah did by employing a scribe named Baruch, who wrote down and compiled all of this material into a scroll. Now, Baruch also gathered lots of stories about Jeremiah, and he linked all the pieces together. And so this is why the book reads like an anthology, a collection of collections. It's all been arranged to present this prophet as a messenger of God's justice and grace. So the book begins with God calling Jeremiah to be a prophet, and he's given a dual vocation. He will be a prophet to Israel, but also to the nations. And his words will both uproot and tear down, but also plant and build up. In other words, he's going to accuse Israel and warn them of God's coming judgment, but he also has a message of hope for the future. Now, this opening perfectly summarizes the first large section, chapters 1 to 24. It's a collection of Jeremiah's writings from before the exile. And the core idea here is that Israel has broken the covenant with God and violated all the terms of the agreement they made that are written in the Torah, and in a number of ways. They've adopted the worship of all kinds of Canaanite gods, building idol shrines all over the land, and Jeremiah develops the metaphor of idolatry as adultery, and uses the language of prostitution, promiscuity, unfaithfulness to describe how Israel has given their allegiance to other gods. Jeremiah also repeatedly accuses Israel's leaders. The priests, the kings, the other prophets have all become corrupt. They've abandoned the Torah and the covenant, which has led to a tragic result: rampant social injustice. The most vulnerable people in Israelite communities, the widows, the orphans, the immigrants, were all being taken advantage of in clear violation of the laws of the Torah, and Israel's leaders didn't even seem to care. So a classic place where all of these ideas come together is in chapter 7. It's called Jeremiah's Temple Sermon. The Israelites are coming to worship their God in the temple as if everything is just fine, but outside the temple they are worshiping other gods, and some were even adopting the horrifying Canaanite practice of child sacrifice. And so Jeremiah makes his very unpopular announcement. The God of Israel is coming in judgment. He's going to destroy his own temple and punish Israel by sending an enemy from the north. This is an army that God would allow to conquer Jerusalem, and as you read on, you discover he's talking about the great empire of Babylon. And so this all leads up to a transition in chapter 25. Israel hasn't turned back to their God, and so in the first year of Babylon's new king, Nebuchadnezzar, God tells Jeremiah to announce that the Babylonian armies are headed for Israel and all of its neighbors to conquer them and take them into exile for 70 years. He compares Babylon to a cup of wine filled to the brim with God's just anger at all of Israel's injustice and idolatry, and God will make Israel and the nations drink from this cup. Now, this chapter is key to the book's design because everything that follows is going to focus on Babylon's coming attack. First on Israel in chapters 26 to 45, and then on the other nations in chapters 46 to 51. The section about Israel first contains stories about how Jeremiah begged Israel to turn back, how he warned them right up to the last minute, but the leaders of Israel kept rejecting him. This section concludes with a large collection of stories about how Jerusalem was under siege and eventually destroyed by Babylon, and about how Jeremiah was persecuted all through that time and eventually kidnapped and taken against his will to Egypt by a group of Israelite rebels. Now, right here in the middle, in between all of these dark stories of disaster and judgment, is a collection of Jeremiah's messages of hope for Israel's future. So he picks up on Moses' prediction that after Israel had broken the covenant and gone into exile, see Deuteronomy 30, God would not abandon his people. Rather, he would renew his covenant with them and transform their hearts. Jeremiah develops this promise, and he says that God is going to one day inscribe the laws of the Torah, not on tablets, but rather on the hearts of his own people.
Yeah.
He's going to heal their rebellion so that they can truly one day love and follow him fully. And so one day, Israel will return back to the land, and the Messiah from the line of David is going to come, and that's when all nations will come to recognize Israel's God as the true God. So these chapters are showing, despite Israel's apostasy, God is not going to let Israel's sin get the final word. Rather, his own faithfulness will bring about the fulfillment of his promises, no matter what. After this, we find the large collection of poems about how God is going to use Babylon to judge the nations around Israel.
Wow.
So Egypt, Philistia, Moab, Edom, Ammon, Damascus, Hazor. But then, surprisingly, the longest poems are saved for last, and they're about God's coming judgment on Babylon itself.
Wow.
So although God used this nation to execute his justice, God doesn't endorse their violence
That's
and
why
idolatry.
slavery happened in
And
the
so
US.
Babylon too will come under the standard of God's justice. And so Jeremiah denounces this nation's pride and injustice as well. Now, Babylon is larger than life in these poems, and it reminds us of the image of Babylon all the way back from Genesis chapter 11. Babylon has become the archetypal rebellious nation. In their glorification of wealth, war,
all the leaders
give
of the
this nation over.
Yeah.
The book concludes with a story taken from the end of the book of 2 Kings. It tells about Babylon's final attack on Jerusalem, how they destroyed the city walls and burned the temple and took the people into
70
exile.
AD.
The story shows how Jeremiah's warnings of judgment from chapters 1 through 24 were fulfilled. But then the chapter ends with a short story about the captive Israelite king Jehoiakim. He's heir to the line of David. And the king of Babylon releases him from prison and shows him favor and invites him to eat at the royal table for the rest of his life.
Wedding
and that's
feast.
how the book ends.
Wedding
So
feast.
it's a little glimmer of hope. And this recalls Jeremiah's promises of hope from chapters 30 to 33. God hasn't abandoned his people or the promised future coming king from David's line. And so while this book contains a huge amount of warning and judgment, the final word includes within it hope for the future. And that's what the book of Jeremiah is all about.
Yep. So now we're reading Jeremiah 50, and we're going to read 51. And it's going to tell us what is going to come on this nation of Babel in our time because of everything that has happened. Okay, so in 70 AD, you had two captivities. The first one was around 536 BC. Nebuchadnezzar came in, took all of the precious things out of the temple, right? So the menorah, just all the gold and silver, right? But at the same time, you have Elohim's people, which are his gold and silver, basically, and they were taken into captivity.
That was when the temple was destroyed.
Yeah, and they destroyed the temple, right? And all the tribes were scattered in all the nations. Then after Yeshua came and went up to be next to the Father, you have this thing happen again where Rome destroys the temple and everybody went into exile again. Not everybody has returned to the land. And we know this because the land is not just a little tiny piece that you see today. It includes Egypt, Jordan, Syria.
Yeah.
And we know that Israel is not living there.
Yeah. Well, God had scattered his people, several times because they continued to sin.
And you find in Jeremiah how this Babel has taken, they've been wandering sheep. They've gone from mountain to hill, and they have forgotten a resting place. They have forgotten that Israel is supposed to be their home. They've forgotten their identity and who they are from all these wars and being converted and all of this stuff that's happened over time for the past 2,000 years. And you find that Elohim, the God of Israel, is going to come and bring judgment on all the nations because the leaders have led the people astray from knowing who they are. And so in the end, you find that there's a new Jerusalem and he restores everyone to their inheritance.
So we're going
to
read Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 50 verse 15. Shout against her, he's talking about Babel, shout against her all around. she has given her hand. Her foundations have fallen. Excuse me. Her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance on her. As she has done, so do to her. Cut off the sower from Babel, and him who handles the sickle at harvest time. Wow. From before the sword of the oppressor, each one turns to his own people, and each one flees to his own land. Israel is a scattered sheep. The
The
lions have
lost
driven.
the 99, the 99 sheep, he'll go after the one. There's more joy in heaven over one that repents than over 99 that need no repentance. Meaning there's more joy over one that turns back to the Torah and the commands and does them because they love salvation, the Messiah, than over 99 that say, I don't need to do that.
Right, right. So Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First the sovereign of Asher devoured him. And now, at last, this Nebuchadnezzar's sovereign of Babel has broken his bone.
This is not Nebuchadnezzar. This is a type of Nebuchadnezzar.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Just
a leader similar to Nebuchadnezzar.
Right, right, right. So, what I was going to say is, this makes me think of Ezekiel 37.
Yeah. We can read that in a minute.
Yeah. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel. See, I am punishing the sovereign of Babel and his land as I have punished the sovereign of Asher. And I shall bring back Israel to his pasture. And he shall feed on camel and Bashan. And his being shall be...
Carmel.
What were you going to say?
It's a mountain in Israel. Carmel.
Carmel.
And Bashan.
Yeah. Okay. And his being shall be satisfied on Mount Ephraim and Galad. So these are mountains as well. In those days, and at that time declares Yahweh, the wickedness of Israel shall be searched for. Wow, but there shall be none. And the sin of Judah, but none shall be found. For I shall pardon those whom I leave as a remnant. So Elohim has turned his face back to us, and he has pardoned our sins. Go up against the land of
Merathaim.
Against it, and against the inhabitants of Pequod. Slay and put them under the ban, declares Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. There is a sound of battle in the land, and a great destruction, which is happening now.
It's beginning.
Yeah. How the hammer of all the earth has been cut off and broken. Wow. How Babel has become a ruin amongst the nations. I have laid a snare for you, and you were captured, O Babel, and you yourselves did not know. You have been found and also caught, because you have strove against Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought out the weapons of his displeasure. For the Adon Elohim of hosts has a work to do in the land of the Kassadites. Wow. Come against her from every quarter. Open her storehouses. So this sounds like Elohim, like his people are going to battle with him.
Yeah.
And he does also say in the word, like his people are his battle axe.
Yeah. And then, Hanan, John the Immerser, John the Baptist, he actually said the axe is already laid at the root of the trees.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The way that this happens is people come back to the full knowledge of the truth. Then they know what to do. They know that it's not a battle of flesh and blood, but it's a spiritual battle. And once you know the truth and that spreads, man, once everybody knows the complete truth and who they are, then it's like Moses. They cry out. Elohim hears the cry of the people and he leads them out. That's why Yeshua, the Messiah, many call him Jesus, that's why he said, do the Passover in remembrance of me. And he also said there's one greater than one greater than Moses is here.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Moses, but greater. So now we're kind of understanding, like, people have talked about a rapture, but this kind of allows you to understand how things are going to come about. It's going to be like one great Passover, like out of Egypt, but this is going to be out of all nations. And he will be the Moses leading the people out. Whether or not, the deaf, the mute, the blind, whether or not they even know it, he's going to lead them out.
But that's why after this, we're going to read Jeremiah 31.
And this is directly connected to Isaiah 61, where he said, I've come to set the captives free. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Jeremiah 50.
Who will be the Moses? Well, the Father and Yeshua. Like, I'm not Elohim, so I don't have every single answer, and I'll admit that. But he has led me to understand that. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Continue.
All right. So Jeremiah 50:27. Slay all her bulls, let them go down to the water. Woe to them, for their day has come, the time of their punishment. Listen, they flee and escape from the land of Babel to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our Elohim, the vengeance of his temple. Summon archers.
Crystal, the vengeance of his temple. Let me get, I'm going to get my map book real quick so I can show them a picture.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know where that book is. Give me 1 second.
The vengeance of his temple. So
okay. I can't find it. I feel like it's going to take a lot of time if I look for it. But basically, it goes back, the vengeance of his temple. Well, we know that it says that our bodies are the temple that Elohim dwells in. So, but at the same time, you got to understand the history. In 70 AD, in the time of Paul, Jerusalem was destroyed. Everybody was exiled out of the land. And this has been like lasted for 2,000 something years. And so he is repaying the nations and he's taking vengeance on them because they have basically taken his people, which is his temple, and he's paying them. And it talks about this in Psalm 137. He says, Jerusalem, if I forget you. So, and then it goes into talking about, remember what Edom did to us. So he's going to repay. That's why we don't have to take revenge. We just need to wait. Okay, we can read.
All right. Forgot what verse I was in. Oh, here we go. Jeremiah 50:29. Summon archers against Babel, all you who bend the bow. encamped against it all around. Let no one escape. Repay her according to her work. Do to her according to all she has done. For she
Okay. Finish that verse, and I'm going to read about how Joseph's bow remained in strength.
yeah, okay. For she has been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel.
Okay. So you see here that Elohim is saying, send the archers against Babel, right? And we know also in Daniel, the way that this statue that Daniel was shown and interpreted what it meant is all the kingdoms that have had power throughout, from the beginning to the end, from Nebuchadnezzar to the last kingdom, right? And the way that the statue, the whole thing gets broken and torn down is by the stone, okay? And the stone is Yeshua. It's Elohim, right? So
So you're talking about the iron and the clay?
yeah, so his people, and like the people of Israel and Elohim, destroy this kingdom, basically. They make it break into pieces, the statue.
Powering off.
And so we also see here in Jeremiah 50 where the archers, he's saying, let's see, summon the archers. Well, that has to do with a bow and an arrow against Babel, right? So in Genesis 49, verse 22, Jacob actually told Joseph and his descendants their blessing. And this is for the last days. This is not for the time of Genesis. You can read it. And he says, Joseph is an offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree. An offshoot of a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength.
Yeah.
And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. From the El of your fathers, that means God, right? From the El of your fathers who helps you, and by the El Shaddai, that's Lord Almighty, El Shaddai, who blesses you. With blessings of the heavens above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breasts and of the womb. The blessing of your father have excelled the blessing of my ancestors. Up to the limit of the everlasting hills, they are on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. Okay. Back to Jeremiah 50, verse 30.
That makes sense because
So here you see, this is probably going to be the tribe that comes against Babel.
Yeah, check this out. So in Matthew 21:40, Yeshua, it says, therefore, when the master of the vineyard comes, what shall he do to those farmers? They said to him, evil ones. He shall bring them to evil destruction and lease the vineyard to other farmers, who shall give to him the fruits in their season.
And we know that the vineyard is the vineyard is the people of, the vineyard is the people of Israel.
So this is the thing. Yeshua says, I am the vine and we are his branches. So he's the one who plants the seed and it bears fruit, good fruit, And then he said after that, Yeshua said to them, did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was from Jehovah. It is marvelous in our eyes. Because of this, I say to you, the reign of Elohim shall be taken from you and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits of it. So, that's what the Messiah had spoke about.
Yeah.
And he was
So
telling
the builders were the ones building the temple.
him,
And
yeah,
he also says in the word, where is this house that you've built
he
for
built,
me?
oh yeah,
He's wanting a house of people.
yeah,
And they kept being focused on building a physical temple.
yeah, yeah.
And then the New Testament says that
See,
Elohim does not dwell in temples made by hands.
exactly, but see, this is my thing. They've been building temples, but at the same time, now they're building churches. So it's the
That's a
same.
temple.
That's
That's
a
a
temple,
temple, though. Yeah.
you know. So he's saying he dwells in us. We are the body. So let's continue to read.
Yeah. In the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summon archers against Babel, all you who bend the bow, encamped against it all around. Let no one escape. Repay her according to her work. Do to her according to all she has done, for she has been proud against Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men shall fall in the streets, and all her men of battle shall perish in that day, declares
Wow.
Yahweh. See, I am against you, O proud one, declares the Adon Yahweh of hosts. For your day has come, the time for your punishment. And the proud one shall stumble, and he shall fall, with no one to raise him up. And I shall kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all around him. Thus
Wow.
says Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel were oppressed, along with the children of Judah, and all who took them captive have held them fast. They refuse to let them go. So it's the
Let my people
story.
go.
Let
Did you hear me?
people go. Moses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall strongly plead their case. So give rest to the land, but unrest to the inhabitants
Hey,
of Babel.
Todd commented. You want to read it?
That makes sense because
He
Babel,
says, hold on, I'm going to read it. Oh, wow, that sounds like what's going on overseas now and here. So, do you think this country is the new Babylon?
yes,
We believe that Babylon, like, there's like a specific. Here you
nation.
go.
Babylon is all the nations. Like, it's not just the U.S., and a lot of people think it's just the U.S. But if you look at what all is going on around the whole world today,
His
like
wrath is being poured out on the
on
nations, and at the
all,
same time, he's turning his face back to Israel. And that's why people are waking up and turning back to the feast,
yeah,
and,
turning back to the
forgetting what they've been taught throughout all these times, because it's not man teaching people now anymore. It's Elohim coming back for his people.
people.
And it
Yeah,
says that he wants a bride that is ready for him when he returns. And so,
yeah,
yeah, Babylon is all the nations, because in Isaiah 11, you find that there are people coming out of all the nations
all the
through the
nations,
southern
all the
seas.
nations. That's yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like Moses and the Exodus, but like times 1,000. Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah.
This is
Uh,
our hope. Like I'm like think about it. Aren't you tired of like working and being exhausted every single day? Like I cannot wait. Yeah. Funny.
and
LOL.
God is not like we like people. There are people out there, that want to do the feast, that want to be close to God, have a relationship close to God, but they're not able to because we're still being enslaved. We're still
But they
work,
are. You
we're having
can
to still work our butts off, and the people they don't have enough time to come home and have that, and it's sad. That's why God, vengeance belongs to him. He's going to repay those who won't give his people back. So that's why this has to happen. It has to get bad for people to turn back to him, to realize he has control over us in this world.
Yeah. At the same time, for anybody that is wanting to turn back, forget their holidays, and start doing the feasts. And when we say feast, it means appointments with Elohim. We recommend it. You're only going to get closer to Elohim by doing them. You're going to understand the word more because you just will. And here's the thing. When we first did it, we're like, well, where are we going to go? Who is doing this? What church should we go to, right? Yeshua said the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Okay?
Yeah.
And he also says, where is this house that you've built for me? So he also is holy, which means to be set apart. So you got a crowd of people doing stuff. You're over here set apart. Okay? So if you want to do it in your house. You don't have to go out to a congregation to do what Elohim wants you to do. Abraham, in the very beginning, left with his little bit of family and went to a land because Elohim told him to do it. You don't have to follow a bunch of people and what they're doing. If you want to walk with Elohim, you can do that.
Yep. Why is it not? All right.
Hold on, Todd's commenting.
He is. All right, read it.
Hold on. It says, I feel like an indentured servant. Well, come on, Lord, you can have me back. And I keep telling people about these pagan holidays. And honestly, I believe a lot of these churches come in the name. Yeah.
When he says that in Matthew, there will be many false
prophets founded by Satan. Yeah, in Matthew he says the sign of his coming. He said what his disciples asked him, what will be a sign of your coming? And he said, let no one deceive you, for many will come in my name, saying that I am the Messiah, and they will deceive many.
Children all dressed in red. Must be the one that Moses led. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Ooh, there's children all dressed in white. God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the ones getting ready to cry. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water.
Okay, so my thing is, slavery is not like that today. This is, huh?
What they spoke? I'm not echoing.
I don't know. It's weird.
Turn your music on. Must still echoing.
A little bit, yeah, that's weird.
Okay, you talk.
Okay, you talk. Okay. So we are still being enslaved. We already went over that. So let's continue to read Jeremiah 50, verse 30.
What is that noise?
I don't know. It's weird. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Let's read. Therefore her young men shall fall in the streets, and all her men of battle shall perish in that day, declares Jehovah. Yeah, it's true, Todd.
No.
See, I am against you, O proud one. Oh, didn't I already read this? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, go to verse.
Is it 35 or 36? I think it's
35.
Okay, so Jeremiah 50:35. A sword is upon the Kassidites, declared Jehovah, and it is upon the inhabitants of Babel, and upon her heads, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall be fools. A sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be broken down. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mixed peoples who are in her midst. Wow. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
And they shall become like women. This nation is the nation that has a bunch of mixed.
Hey. Does that sound like water?
Huh?
Does that sound like
water? Yeah, it does. Oh, that's weird. A sword is upon her treasuries, and they shall be plundered. A sword is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is a land of carved images, and they boast about their idols. Therefore the wild desert beast shall dwell with the jackals, and the ostriches dwell in it. And it shall never again be inhabited, nor dwell in unto all generations. As Elohim overthrew Sodom and Amorah and their neighboring cities, declares Jehovah, so no one would dwell there, nor would son of men sojourn in it. Wow. See, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many sovereigns stirred up from the ends of the earth. They lay hold of bow and spear, they are cruel, and they show no compassion. They sound like the roaring sea, and ride on horses put in array, like a man for battle against you, O daughter of Babel. The sovereign of Babel has heard the report about them, and his hands become weak. Distress has seized him, pain like that of a woman in labor. Okay.
Wow.
There will be many reports. Sounds like Matthew. Sounds like Matthew 24.
There's got to be a way to
Yeah, it does. It does sound like the U.S. These abominations running around, parents letting their kids choose what gender they want to be. Yeah. Yeah, that's the truth.
That's 1,000 years ago.
Huh? We didn't hear you.
Background.
What?
Do you have something in the background?
No. It sounds fine to me.
Am I still echoing?
No.
Oh.
All right. Jeremiah 50:44. Yeah. See, he comes up like a lion from the pride of the Jordan against the enduring pasture. But in an instant I shall make them run away from her. And who is the chosen one whom I appoint against her? So he said, and who is the chosen one whom I appoint against her? Wow. Many were called, few were chosen. That type of thing. For who is like me, who summons me? And
Hey. In verse 44, it talks about the boredom.
Yeah.
And the in Joshua laid down
12 stones in the Jordan, which it makes sense. Like, remember Elohim said, I think it's in Revelation, right? Where he says, and a stone will be given to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, we should read that.
And you will be given a new name. Yeah, what verse is that in? Is it Revelation 7 or 11?
No, it's in the beginning.
It's in what?
To the assembly.
Oh, the assemblies. And the assemblies. And a white stone will be given a white stone. What verse is that?
With a new name.
Yeah, yeah. That's all right.
Give us one second. Oh, it's in a Revelation 2.
Okay, yeah, Revelations 2, yeah.
Chapter
17, verse 17.
Go back.
Yeah. We're going to go back.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. And to the messenger of the assembly in Simornia. You want to read?
Am I echoing?
No, you're fine.
Okay. And to the messenger of the assembly in Smyrna, this was the first who became dead and alive. Know your works and poverty. That you are hope.
Whitney, I can't hear you.
Okay, you read.
Okay. And to the messenger of the assembly in Smyrna, write, this says the first and the last, who became dead and came to life. So this is Yeshua. I know your works and pressure and poverty, yet you are rich in the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are
Explain that.
Okay.
Explain that.
So when he says who say that they are Jews and are not, like Elohim, what he means by Jews, he means like believers in the Messiah, like believers that are, like he's saying, the ones that are saying that they're Jewish, they speak of him with their lips, but their lips are far from him. Like they don't know him. But they claim that they're Jewish and they're following the Messiah and are not.
Well, not just that. Today, if you Christians claim to be following the Messiah. Okay, so wait, we claim to be because Torah came from. Can you hear me?
Now I can. When you're close to the phone, we can hear you.
Okay. So people would automatically the Jewish people would that. Why am I cutting out?
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. Anyway, just keep reading.
Okay. And this is Revelation 2, verse 10. Be afraid of what you are about to suffer. See, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison in order to try you and 10 days.
You're cutting out.
Huh? What did you say? I'm cutting out?
You were cutting.
Okay.
You're good now.
Okay. Each death, and I shall give you the crown of life. He who has an ear, let him hear the Ruach of the Holy Spirit says to the assemblies. He who overcomes shall by no means be harmed by the second death. And to the messenger of the assembly in Pegamos write, he who has the sharp two-edged sword says this. It's Messiah. Word.
The word.
Huh? Yeah.
The word is the sharp two-edged sword.
Which became flesh. Yeshua, the Messiah.
Yeah.
Know your works and where you dwell.
Mm.
Throne of Satan is. And you hold fast to my name and did not deny the belief in me. Even in the days in which Antipas was my trustworthy witness, who was killed near you, where Satan dwells. So even Satan believes.
What?
But I hold a little against you because you have there those.
Crystal. Hey. What do you mean where Satan dwells? You said even Satan believes.
That even Satan believes. Like that's.
Yeah, but he's
like
talking about in Turkey. This was in the region of Turkey where Satan's throne was, basically, in the time that they were living in. And he's writing to the people that were believing and following the truth, living in that nation. And he's saying, I know, and he's writing a letter to them, saying, I
Yeah.
know you're living in a place where it's hard.
He
So.
says, I know your works and where you dwell, where the throne of Satan is, and you hold fast to my name. Okay. Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah.
And did not deny the belief in me. Okay. Even in the days in which Antipas was my trustworthy witness. But he also was saying, like right here, he says, who was killed near you where Satan dwells.
Yeah, he was killed for the truth.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like Paul, they went out, like Paul and Peter and them, they went out and spoke, but like Satan was trying to stop God's plan, stop them from speaking the truth. Satan,
And they were persecuted.
like today, people are still being persecuted for believing and following and speaking about it. Like that's Satan working in people. So that's what I meant to say. And so it says here in verse 14, but I hold a little against you because you have there those who adhere to the teaching of Balaam. And we talked about that?
We did a video on that.
Balaam. Yeah, we did.
Balaam was sent by Balak to curse Israel.
Yeah.
And you should look at blessings and curses, and then you'll understand like a lot. And read about Balaam and Balak, and you'll understand like because what history repeats itself. So what happened back then is happening today.
Yes.
Doesn't it say that you will be jailed, persecuted, and killed for your beliefs?
Mm.
See, but that's happened.
Yeah.
Since Mashiach, since 70 AD. That's happening. I got a whole book of it.
It's still happening too in other nations as well. Like it's still happening. So yeah. You're right. And here it says right here, but I hold a little against you because you have there those who adhere to the teachings of Balaam, who taught the law to put a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat offerings to idols, and to commit whoring. So you also have those who adhere to the teaching of the Nicolaitans, which I hate. Repent, or else I shall come to you speedily and fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Ruach, what the Spirit says to the assemblies. To him who overcomes, I shall give some of the hidden manna to eat.
Manna fell from heaven, right? To feed the Israelites when they were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. They were outside of the land. Okay? Manna from heaven has to do with words because man cannot live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
So the hidden manna is what we are saying to you today.
And I shall give him a white stone. So there's that.
A new name.
And a new name. And on the stone a renewed name, knowing the truth, written which no one knows
Reading.
except him who receives it. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we
Whoever has an ear, let him hear. Shema
Shema, Hero Israel.
means to hear.
Um, so we're gonna go back to Jeremiah, where
No, it says Todd. It
uh,
does say that. Todd said, or am I making that up? No, it
oh
says
no,
that.
yeah. Give me this. Ah. Okay, what verse are we in Jeremiah 50?
Where it talked about the stone.
Oh, here it is. So Jeremiah, Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh, which has counseled concerning Babel, and his proposes. He has
Purposes.
purposes. I'm sorry, and his purposes
Okay.
has proposed concerning the land of the Kassidites. The least of the flock shall drag them away, and he shall make their pasture a waste before them. At the sound of Babel's capture, the earth shall be shaken.
Wow. The earth.
The earth shall
That's,
be shaken, and the outcry shall be heard among the nations. Wow.
yes. Hoshiana.
Yeah, Hoshiana. That's
Save
Israel.
us.
Crying,
Outcry. Yeah.
all of us.
Do you think it's a
So,
literal shaking?
huh?
You think it's a literal shaking?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's both.
I
I
think
think
it's both.
literal
I think
the
literal
Bible.
shaking, but the nations, it says the powers of the heavens will be shaken
Mm-hmm.
also in Matthew 24. Okay, you want to read 51?
You know what? I think we should read Joel.
Well, let's read 50. I want to read 51 because this is directly, like, it's together.
Okay. Thus says Yahweh, see, I am stirring up the spirit of a destroyer against Babel. So that's, he dwells in us. Like, he's talking to us. His
Yeah.
spirit shaking us. I meant stirring up in us. Against Babel, against those who dwell in Leb. Yours says Leb too, right?
Yeah.
My opponents. And I shall send winnowers to Babel, who shall winnow her and empty her land. For they shall be against her all around in the day of evil. Maya,
Wow.
stop. Let the archer draw his bow, and let him stand ready in his armor. Do not fire her young men. Put all her army under the ban. And the slain shall fall in the land of the Kassidites, and the pierced through and the pierced through in her streets. For neither Israel nor Judah is widowed
Widowed
widow
by,
by his Elohim. Yahweh,
wow. Right.
though their land has been filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Sorry, my
You want
baby.
me to read? You want
Stop
me to
it.
read?
Yeah, go ahead. Stop it.
Okay.
Stop.
Flee from the midst of Babel, and let each one save his life. Do not be cut off in her wickedness, for this is the time of the vengeance of Yahweh, the recompense he is repaying her. Babel was a golden cup in the hand of Yahweh, making drunk all the earth. The nations drank her wine. That is why the nations went mad. Babel shall suddenly fall and be broken. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she might be healed. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Let us leave her and each go to his own land, for her judgment reaches to the heavens and is lifted up to the clouds.
You know what? That
Yahweh,
makes me think of that verse in Matthew where he says, how long I wanted to gather you as a chicken gathers her.
no,
How
as a hen, well, yeah, as a hen.
as her what?
Hen,
As a hen gathers her chicks. Yeah, that's what he says.
but they would not.
But they would not.
And do you
Yeah,
know that you gather on the feast?
and that's what feasts are about. Gathering.
Gathering. All right, I gotta go use the ladies' room real quick. So you continue to read.
Okay, well, okay, hold on.
I'll be-
No. All right, come on. Sorry, my daughter was using the ladies' room. Okay, so what verse did she leave off of? Okay, so we'll just go to Jeremiah 51. 5. For neither is widowed by his Elohim, Yahweh of hosts, though their land has been filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee from the midst of Babel and let each one save his life. Man. Do not be cut off in her wickedness, for this is the time of vengeance of Yahweh. The recompense he is repaying her. Babel was a golden cup in the hand of Yahweh, making drunk all the earth. So this is what he's telling us what happened. The nations drank her wine. That is why the nations went mad. Babel shall suddenly fall and be broken. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. I forgot what balm means, but I've looked it up. And okay, I'll just continue to read. If so be she might be healed. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Let us leave her and each go to his own land. For her judgment, wine meaning, I guess, like the wine, you know how he speaks of like the wine press, like the wrath, or I don't know, I'd have to look it up. I put it down though. We would have healed Babel, but she is not healed. Let us leave her and each go to his own land, for her judgment reaches to the heavens and is lifted up to the clouds. Jehovah has brought forth our righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our Elohim. So that's us speaking. Let us declare on the work of Yahweh. Like, let us declare what is happening today. And it says, polish the arrows, put on the shields. Yahweh has stirred up the spirit of the sovereigns of the Madai for his plan. Is that Jordan?
Yeah, like there's a
Babel. Hi, Jordy. Hi.
Billy. This is Jordan, you're right.
Jordan, roll. All right. So we're on verse 11. Jordan, you want to read?
I'll let you read. I'm going to try to keep him content.
Okay. For his plan is against Babel to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance for his temple.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about the vengeance for his people.
Yeah. And what was done in 70 AD, he didn't forget it. Yeah. We should play Modest Yahoo.
But he also says, though a mother forgets, he will never forget you. Like, everything that has happened, like, that's why he told Rachel in Jeremiah 31, hold back your tears from weeping, because
there is an expectancy for your latter end, and your children will return from the land of the enemy.
So this is what he says. Thus says Yahweh, a voice was heard in Ramah, wailing bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children. So refusing to be comforted for her children because they are no more. And if you think about it, it makes me think of like all the fighting amongst one another. Like we are fighting against like race and stuff when God created us all. He created us. And so like she's weeping because of that. And because we have been led astray at the same time, but God has.
I'll just say it. This past year, me and Crystal, both of us have cried so much because of what is happening.
Yeah.
We have literally felt like Rachel weeping for our own people refusing to be comforted because they won't turn back to the truth. When you turn back to Elohim and you turn back to the truth, you're going to be comforted by him because you're going to understand why everything is happening. And you're not just going to be overwhelmed by seeing what's happening in the news or trying to bring vengeance yourself or to take revenge. This is a battle, and the battle belongs to Elohim.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's what that means. So we're going to finish reading 51:12. Lift up a banner on the walls of Babel. Wow.
Joseph's branches run over a wall.
I'm just going to tell you to explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it says, lift up a banner on the walls of Babel, strengthen the watch, station the watchmen, prepare the ambush. Wow.
We're lifting up a banner. This is a banner to everybody watching this video.
For Yahweh has both planned and done what he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babel. You who dwell upon many waters, great in treasures, your end has come, the measure of your greedy gain. Yahweh of hosts has sworn by himself, I shall certainly fill you with men, as with locusts, and they shall lift up a shout against you. He made the earth by his power, he established that world by his wisdom, and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. When he gives forth his voice, the waters in the heavens roar. And he makes vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings for the rain, and he brings the wind out of his treasuries.
Hurricane.
All mankind has become too brutish to know. Every smith has been put to shame by the carved image, for his molded image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them.
That makes me think of the carved image.
Yeah.
There's no breath in this.
Making everything an idol.
Not a person.
But that's why he says you cannot worship two masters. Like you cannot worship money, and God at the same time. So if you have all this stuff distracting you from the truth, you're not going to know. He will come like a thief in the night, and you'll not know.
If you would have known what hour the thief was coming because you did the feast, and you understand his seasons and his times, right? Then you would not allow your house to be broken into.
Yeah.
Your house is people.
Yeah. All right. So it says right here. Where were we? Here, verse 16. When he gives forth his voice, the waters in the heavens roar. And he makes vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings for the rain, and he brings the wind out of his, treasuries. All mankind has become too brutish to know. Every smith has been put to shame by the carved image, for his molded image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are worthless, a work of mockery. In the time of their punishment they perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the maker of all, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. You are my
Yeah.
battle, like what we were saying earlier.
Say that again, because you cut out.
What part? 19?
Read that again. You were my battle axe.
It says in verse 20, like we were talking about earlier, you are my battle axe, weapons of battle. And with you I shall break nations in pieces. And with you I shall destroy reigns. And with you I shall break in pieces the horse and its riders. And with you I shall break in pieces the chariot and his rider. And with you I shall break in pieces men and women. And with you I shall break in pieces old and young. And with you I shall break in pieces young men and the maiden. And with you I shall break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. And with you I shall break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen. And with you I shall break in pieces governors and rulers. And I shall repay Babel and all the inhabitants of Casdeum for all the evil they have done in Zion before your eyes, declared Jehovah.
Yeah.
So if he is saying with us, we are going to do this,
Battle axe.
then that means we need to turn back to him so that he can show us what he's saying. Because without him, we are nothing. Without belief,
He says,
we are nothing.
apart from me, you can do nothing.
But he says, by belief, you are to please him. Without belief, there's nothing. But believing in him, that's turning back, and you'll, by believing, you'll want to follow and do what God has asked us to do from the beginning. And then you'll start seeing the power of Elohim. And then in verse 25 here, he says, see, I am against you, O destroying mountain, who destroys all the earth, declares Jehovah. And I stretch out my hand against you, and I shall roll you down from the rocks and make you a burnt mountain.
Wow.
I shall not take from you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation. The stone which the builders rejected became the chief cornerstone. So that's what he's saying, the stone, like, and they shall not take from you a stone, like they cannot take that from you. Like, take him from you.
He's saying that a stone will not be taken from you for a cornerstone or a foundation.
Stone for a foundation. But you shall be a waste forever. Ah, okay. My bad. Declares
Speaking to
Jehovah.
Babel.
So,
Yeah.
so can you tell us what it means then?
I guess that's
And they shall not take from you a stone for a corner, nor a foundation. Ah, well, yeah, that does make sense. Like,
it reminds me of the building of the temple.
that's, see, but that reminds me,
Elohim is not
like,
wickedness, what it makes me think of. So he's not going to take like a stone or a foundation of wickedness and mix it with his, or build his temple with that, is what it makes me think of. That's just my opinion, though. I'd have to spend some time on that
yeah, we do.
and
Okay,
think about it.
7. Lift up a banner in the land, blow the ram's horn among the nations. We just had Feast of Trumpets, which was the same day that the solar eclipse happened. So he's saying,
Actually, it's on the calendar. That's a whole different thing. But the rabbinical calendar is like the Hebrew calendar says that it's going to be on September 21st.
but
It's a whole different thing,
that's
dude.
a whole different thing. But what I'm trying to say
So
here is,
that other people could see, hey, we blew the shofar so that other people could see, like that's what you do on
yeah,
Feast of Trumpets.
Feast of Trumpets, right.
Mhm.
And So he's saying among the nations, like blow the shofar, but that also it's spiritual and physically. Like he's
Yeah.
saying, like speak. You're going to be speaking to people on this
You
feast.
are so far, basically.
And okay, so I'm going to continue. Prepare the nations against her, call the ranks together against her. Ariak, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a commander against her. Bring up horses. So all these places he's talking about, which is crazy, it's like these places in different nations, he's saying, I'm going to punish them. And so it's not just one nation, it's Babylon. All of these nations are Babylon. And so,
Babel, yeah. Confusion. Different
and then,
tongues, different languages. Babel.
okay, so bring up horses like hairy locusts, separate the nations against her with the sovereigns of the Madites, its sovereigns and all its rulers, all the land of his rule, so that the land shakes and withers in pain. For every plan of Jehovah shall be established against Babel, to make the land of Babel a ruin, without inhabitants. The mighty men of Babel have ceased to fight. They remained in their strongholds. Their might has
There,
failed.
can I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Their might has failed. They became like women. Why does that make me think of all the stuff going on with the military about transgender and yeah. They became like women. They have burned her dwelling places. The bars of her gate have been broken. One runner runs to meet another, and one reporter to meet another, to report to the sovereign of Babel that his city is taken on all sides. And the fords have been captured, and they have burned the reeds with fire, and the soldiers are startled. For thus said Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, the daughter of Babel. So this is a Babel, not the first Babel that it'll talk about in the word, but this is the daughter of that. So this comes like later in time, if that makes sense, which it could be in our day, is like a threshing floor at the time it is trodden. Yet a little while, and when I read that, it makes me think about all the slavery and stuff that's happened in the past in this nation. So this nation was trodden, right? Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come.
That's
So,
definitely.
like, with harvest, and you read about branches and
Well, the
fruit and
thing
all this,
harvest
it's
has to do with
basically,
that's why it's so important to keep the feast of Elohim, because you'll know like what he's doing in those feasts.
yeah, but so harvest, it's saying her harvest shall come. This is like, people are related to fruit, branches, those things in the word, right? And so it's saying that this nation was trodden down by men, and then after a while, you're going to see Israel ready to be gathered, like fruit that's gathered in harvest time. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's so important
Turn back to Elohim.
to huh?
Turn back to Elohim.
Yeah,
Turn back to the Bible.
because anyways, let's read. Where are you at, by the way?
34.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, the sovereign of Babel, has devoured us. He has crushed us. He has made us an empty vessel. He has swallowed us up like a dragon. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. This is Elohim speaking this to Jeremiah. He has driven us away. Away from where? Israel. Let the violence done to me in my flesh be upon Babel, says the inhabitant of Zion, and let my blood be upon the inhabitants of Kazim, says Jerusalem. Therefore, thus says Yahweh, see, I am pleading your case, and I shall take vengeance for you, and dry up her sea, and make her fountain dry. And Babel shall become a heap, a habitation of jackals, an astonishment and a hissing without inhabitant. Together they roar like lions. They shall growl like lions' cubs. That's what Judah is. In their
Yeah.
heat I prepare their feasts, and I shall make them drunk so that they rejoice and sleep a never-ending sleep and not awake, declares Yahweh. I shall bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. Oh, how Sheshach has been captured, and the praise of all the earth has been seized. How Babel has become a ruin among the nations. Here, hold on. I'm
What
sorry.
verse are you in?
42. The sea has risen. Oh, the sea has risen over Babel. She has been covered with the roaring of its
It's
waves.
waves. Wow.
Her cities have become a ruin, her dry land and a desert, a land where no one dwells, neither does a son of man pass by it. And I shall punish Bel in Babel, and I shall make him spew out what he has swallowed.
This
And
this
nations.
Whitney, this verse, this is also in Revelations. Remember?
Oh yeah, Revelation. I think 12.
12. Yeah, yeah.
Let's read that real
Yeah.
quick. Ball. Go get your toy.
Wow, the nations.
You gonna vacuum? Oh, my stomach's growling.
Okay, here it is. We can go start verse 9 or 10.
I would just read the whole thing.
Okay. You want to read or you want me to read?
Yeah, I'll read.
Okay.
And a great sign was seen in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And being pregnant, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign was seen in the heavens, and see, a great fiery red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads. And his tail drew a third of the stars of the heavens and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she bore a male child who was to shepherd all the nations with a rod of iron. Harvey, this hurricane actually means iron. And she bore a male child who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught away to Elohim into his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by Elohim to be nourished there 1,260 days. And there came to be fighting in the heavens. Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his messengers fought. But they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the heavens any longer. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray.
There it is.
We have to check what we have been taught right there.
Yeah.
Leads the whole world astray.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the heavens, now have come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim, and the authority, my son's getting on the bed, and the authority, where am I at? Of his Mashiach, Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers who accuse them before our Elohim day and night has been thrown down. You want to read? My son's moving the pillow. It's just holding up. Come
Okay.
here.
And they overcame him. This is verse 11. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness. And they did not love their lives to the death. Because of this, rejoice, O heavens. And
That's the who have gone before us and have died for the truth. They overcame him because they, yeah, it'll explain why.
because of this, rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. Wow.
Yeah.
So what you said earlier, you're right. Yeah.
What did I say?
No, Todd, what he said earlier.
Yeah, the ruler of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown,
Jordan.
he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child.
That's Israel.
And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and in a time, half a time. Yeah, that's Israel.
So
See?
the tribes have been nourished at the same time for the past 2,000 years.
From the presence of the serpent, and out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. Oh, wow. Okay, so could that mean like slavery? Whitney, are you there? And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. Do you think that could mean like slavery?
Yeah, Satan's been trying to hunt down Israel
Yeah.
since the time of 70 AD. But you know what?
Okay, well, here it is right here in verse 16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river. Wow. Which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth.
Wonder what that river is.
Elohim.
No, the river that he swallowed up.
Oh, that was us. That's Israel.
It's like it can be related to the chariots that in the Pharaoh's army that chased after the Israelites crossing the sea.
I was thinking more of the people.
Yeah.
Swallowing out.
Yeah, the armies that have chased after Israel throughout time. Like people think that the Passover thing stopped.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And it didn't. This has been repeating itself throughout history. You've got people living in a land, government rises up, you've got wars, people want to kill people, people flee to a different land. You've had this sort of thing happening and repeating itself throughout time. Because Elohim's the one who punishes nations. He's the one who makes nations rise, and he's the one who makes them fall.
Okay, so we'll read verse 17. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed. Those guarding.
What's the remnant? What's the remnant of her seed? Read it.
says,
It's
and
in the
the
next
dragon was
verse.
enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed. So that's like the remaining.
That's like Abraham and his seed
Yeah, yeah, the remaining, yeah.
in Genesis.
Those guarding the commands of Yahweh and possessing the witness of Yeshua HaMashiach. So Yeshua the
That's
Messiah.
the seed. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So you want to go back to Jeremiah 51?
Yeah. Do you remember what verse we were in?
Uh, oh yeah, we were in verse 37. Oh no, we weren't. We were in verse
47 maybe?
yeah,
No,
47.
we weren't
Right,
that
right.
far.
47,
No, we were in 44.
44. We've
Yeah.
already read. Oh yeah, you're right. You're
Read
right.
it again. Read it
Okay,
again because it's
punish
what we
Bel
just read.
Babel. Yeah, this goes with Revelation, what we just read. And I shall make him spew out what he has swallowed, and nations shall no longer stream to him. Even the wall of Babel shall fall. Come out of her midst, my people. So he's yelling like, come out of her midst, my people. And let
Come
every
out of here. Stop following Sunday. Straight up. Bel was a false god that was worshipped by Constantine and the Pope in the Catholic Church. They masqueraded as an angel of light to deceive the
yeah,
people. And they created the worship on Sunday and they tried to change the worship from the Sabbath day to Sunday.
day. So that makes sense.
Elohim does not change. His Sabbath day did not change.
During the 1800s, it was mandatory for the people to work on the Sabbath day. So
Yeah,
that
let me read that real quick.
people are
This is
are
U.S.
going to
history.
and on Sunday.
I'll read it.
Yeah, read it.
This right here. I'm going to read it to y'all, okay? In the year of 1881, which happens to be the same time that a lot of these statues that people are freaking out about were created. So, here we go. Many Jews directed their thoughts to Eretz Yisrael. Small groups were formed, generally called Lovers of Zion. To discuss immigration, they were supported and joined by some rabbis. Others saw Jewish nationalism as an alternative ideology, giving momentum to a developing secular nationalistic concept of the return of Zion. Oh, wow. So they started like talking about return to the land.
Mm-hmm.
Check out what happens when this is going on. As distinct from those seeking only to immigrate, settle, and work in the land with no political goals. For many living in Russia, it became untenable. 2 million left in the next 32 years. This is the year 1881. Most immigrated to the economically appealing USA, where approximately 280,000 known Jews, right, were living at this stage. And 200 synagogues already existed at this stage. Now, check out what happens. Only 12 of which were not reformed. Many of those arriving in the USA discontinued religious observances. Work on Saturday was mandatory.
Yeah.
In 1881. Why was work on Saturday mandatory? Because this nation was founded
On
by
slavery.
Christopher Columbus, the Roman Catholic Church, and the Roman Catholic Church worshipped on Sunday. They did not want people turning back to Torah. So when people came over here in 1881, work on Saturday was mandatory. Why? Because Satan does not want us turning back to the truth.
Yep.
That's the U.S. history for you that we weren't taught.
Yeah.
That everything that's hidden in the dark will be revealed by the light.
All right. So,
Jeremiah 51.
Jeremiah 51, what?
45.
Okay. Come out of her midst, my people, and let everyone deliver his being from the burning displeasure of Yahweh. And lest your heart grow faint, and you fear the report heard in the land. And if you haven't
The
noticed
news.
that, people are freaking out all over the world
Watching the news.
because of what's going on.
Yeah.
For a report shall come 1 year, and after that in another year a report shall come, and violence in the land, ruler against. Therefore,
Roll it.
see, the days are coming that I shall bring punishment on the carved images of Babel, and all her land shall be put to shame, and all her slain fall in
The
her midst.
carved image, could that be a statue?
It could be multiple things.
It could definitely be a statue.
Oh yeah,
Carved image.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It could be a statue. It can be. It's idols. Period.
Yeah.
And the heavens and the earth and all that is in them shall shout for joy over Babel, for the ravengers shall come to her from the north, declares Yahweh. As Babel is to fall for the slain of Israel, so for Babel the
Must
slain of
be the ones
earth
that Moses
shall
led.
fall. Huh?
Must be the ones that Moses led, wade in the water.
God is
And
going to
Babel
trouble
is going to
water.
fall for the slain of Israel.
Mm-hmm. You who have escaped the sword, go away. Do not stand still. Remember Jehovah from afar, and let Jerusalem your
Read that
heart.
again. Read that again, that verse.
You who have escaped the sword, go away. Do not stand still. Remember Jehovah from afar, and let Jerusalem come to your heart.
Jerusalem, come to your heart.
We are ashamed because we have heard reproach. Shame has covered our faces, for strangers have come into the Medashim.
The sanctuary of the house of Yahweh.
Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Yahweh, that I shall bring punishment on her carved image, while the wounded groan throughout all her land. Though Babel mount up to the heavens, and though she should make the height of her strength inaccessible, ravengers shall keep her from me, declares Yahweh. Listen, a cry from Babel and great destruction from the land of the Kassadites, because Yahweh is revenging Babel, and shall silence her loud voice, and her waves shall roar like great waters. Makes me think of Hurricane Harvey. And if you, we think what Whitney was it ago or a month ago, it flooded out here a little bit
Now,
where we live. So all the
what?
we have been
I didn't get
getting.
any of that.
Okay, I'll just read because I don't know. It's like cutting out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read Jeremiah 51:55. Because Jehovah is ravaging Babel, and shall silence her loud voice, and her waves shall roar like great waters. The noise of their
Wow.
resound. Because the wrath
Wow.
shall come against her, against Babel, and her mighty men shall be captured. Every one of their bows shall be broken. For Jehovah is the El of recompense. He shall certainly repay. And I
Mm.
shall make her rulers drunk, and her wise men, her governors, and her deputies, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep as lasting sheep. as a lasting sleep, and not awake, declares the sovereign, whose name is Yahweh of hosts. Thus says Yahweh of hosts. So thus says God of hosts. The broad walls of Babel are completely demolished, and her high gates are burned with fire, and peoples labor in vain, and the nations weary themselves for fire. Whitney, you want to read?
The word that Jeremiah the prophet, can you hear? Because I know
Yeah.
Jordan's talking. The prophet commanded Seraiah, son of Neriah, son of Maaseiah, when he went with Tizkiyahu, the sovereign of Judah, to Babel in the 4th year of his reign, and Seraiah was a quartermaster. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that would come upon Babel, all these words which have been written concerning Babel. And Jeremiah said to Seraiah, when you come to Babel and see it and read all these words, then you shall say, O Yahweh, you have spoken concerning this place to cut it off, so that none shall dwell in it, neither man nor beast, for it is a ruin forever. And it shall be when you have reading this book that you shall tie a stone to it and throw it into the middle of the Perath.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And shall say, so does Babel sink and not rise from the evil that I am bringing upon her, and they shall weary themselves. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. Yeah. Babel's going to be punished.
Yeah. You want to read Joel?
Yeah, we can read Joel. What time is it? Oh, girl, I thought it was late. It's 11:28. You can read Joel. I'm going to go get a bag of chips.
Okay.
Because I didn't eat breakfast this morning, and I drank that coffee, and if I don't eat something, I'm going to be jittery.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so okay, so we're gonna read Joel real quick, and so yeah, the word of Yahweh that came to Joel, son of Pethuel. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Hi, Jordan. Hear this, you elders, and give ear, all you inhabitants of the land. Has this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Relate it to your children and your children's and your children, their children, and their children to the generation after them. What the gnawing locust left, the swarming locust has eaten. And what the swarming locust left, the crawling locust has eaten. And what the crawling locust left, the consuming locust has eaten. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep and wail, all you drunkards of wine. Okay, Whitney, my daughter's crying. I'm in
You
verse.
what?
I said, you read. My daughter's crying. Read verse 5.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. What chapter are we in? 3?
1.
Oh, okay. We're going to read all of Joel. The word of Yahweh that came to Joel, son of Pethuel. We're in verse 5. My bad. Wake up, you drunkards, and weep and wail, all you drinkers of wine, on account of the new wine, for it has been cut off from your mouth. For a nation has come up against my land, strong and innumerable. Its teeth are the teeth of a lion, and it has the fangs of a lioness. This makes me think of Rome. It has laid waste my vine and splintered my fig tree. It has made it entirely bare and cast it away. Its branches became white. Well, like a maiden girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. The grain offering and the drink offering have been cut off from the house of Yahweh the Kohanim. Yes, this is 70 AD. Because the Romans are the ones who destroyed the temple the second time. Everybody was exiled, and because of that, they had no temples, so the grain offering ceased. The field is ravaged, the ground has mourned, for the grain is ruined, the new wine has dried up. The new wine is what Yeshua brought. The oil fails, the farmers are ashamed, the vine dressers wail over the wheat and over the barley, for the harvest of their field is destroyed. The wheat and the barley, that has to do with people. But at the same time, it's land also. So the people were destroyed, so they were wailing over this. The vine has dried up, and the fig tree droops, pomegranate and palm and apple tree. All the trees of the field are dried up, because joy has dried up among the sons of men. Gird yourselves and lament, you Kohanim. These are the Levites, the priests. Well, you attendants of the altar, come lie all night in sackcloth, you attendants of my Elohim. For the grain offering and the drink offering are withheld from the house of your Elohim. Holy a fast, call an assembly, gather the elders, all the inhabitants of the land, into the house of Yahweh your Elohim, and cry out to Yahweh. Alas, for the day of Yahweh is near, and it comes as destruction from El Shaddai. Is not the food cut off before our eyes, joy and gladness from the house of our Elohim? The seed has rotted under their clods. Storehouses are laid waste. Granaries are broken down, for the grain has withered.
Wow. Famine.
How the beasts moan. The herds of cattle are restless because they have no pasture, no land. The flocks of sheep also perish. I cry to you, Yahweh, for fire. You want to read? I gotta go get a drink.
Yeah. I cry to you, Yahweh, for fire has consumed the pastures of the wilderness, and a flame has lit on fire all the trees of the field. Even the beasts of the field cry out to you. For the water streams are dried up, and fire has consumed the pastures of the wilderness. Blow a ram's horn in Zion, and sound an alarm, my holy mountain. He's talking to us. Let all the inhabitants of the earth tremble, for the day of Yahweh is coming, for it is near, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds, dense clouds, like morning clouds spread over a people many and strong, the like of whom has never been, nor shall there ever be. Nor shall there ever be again after them, to the years of many generations. Ahead of them a fire has consumed, and behind them a flame burns. So that's all. Before them the land is like Eden, and behind them and from them there is no escape. Their appearance is like the appearance of horses, and they run like steeds. As the noise of chariots, they leap over mountaintops.
Hold it.
As a mighty people placed in battle array. Before them peoples are in anguish. All faces become flushed. They run like mighty men. They climb the wall like men of battle. Wow. Everyone goes, and they do not break ranks. And they do not press. Everyone goes. They fall among the weapons, but they do not stop. They rush on the city, they run on the wall. They climb into the houses, they enter the window like a thief. The earth shall tremble before them, the heavens shall shake, sun and moon shall darken, and the stars withdraw their brightness. And Yahweh shall give forth his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For mighty is the doer of his word. For the day of Jehovah is great and very awesome. And who can bear it? Wow. Yet even now declares Jehovah, turn to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. And tear your heart and not your garments. Tear your heart and not your garments. And turn back to Jehovah your Elohim, for he shows favor and is compassionate, patient, and of great kindness. And he shall relent concerning the evil. Who knows, he might turn and relent and leave a blessing behind him, a grain offering and a drink offering for Jehovah your Elohim. Blow a ram's horn in Zion. Holy a fast, call an assembly. Wow.
Gathering. Call a gathering of people. That doesn't mean like it has to be this big religious thing where you have a church and a building. Start doing this. Call a gathering of people. Start talking. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So gather the people, holy the assembly. Wow. Assemble the elders, gather the children and those that nurse on breast.
Holy, hey, holy the assembly means to be set apart. That means like you got all those people that do the holidays, and you have people that do the feast. When you obey the commands, you're loving the Messiah.
Feast. Talk to the people about the feast days and about the feast, keeping God's
Spread
feast.
this word with everybody that you know. Share this.
Yeah.
It might not mean anything to you, but somebody is going to listen to this.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with us. We're not trying to lift ourselves up. We're just trying to do what Elohim wants us to do. We're simple people. He calls simple people. He called fishermen. So if you can, please share this because somebody's going to understand
and
needs to hear it.
And it says, let a bridegroom come out from his room and a bride from her dressing room. Makes me think
And the feasts are actually a form of like a dress rehearsal.
If you read the book of Esther, it makes sense of why he refers to us.
Yeah. Esther was a Jewish woman who had to hide her identity, and she looked like just a Gentile living in Shushan in Persia. And also, if you think about it, Elohim also did this with Moses because Moses was a Hebrew, but he was brought up as an Egyptian.
Yeah.
So that's another reason we believe that
And
there's.
he ended up marrying an Egyptian too.
I don't know it. Yeah.
So, let the priests, servants of Jehovah, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare your people, O Jehovah, and do not give your inheritance to reproach, for the Gentiles to rule over them. Why should they say among the peoples, where is their Elohim?
Gentiles means nations. Why should the nations rule over them?
No, Mama. No. Yeah,
the United Nations, which are having a peace and safety conference on the Feast of Trumpets, September 21st. The day that the shofar is supposed to be blown.
Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Mama. Hey. What you doing?
Okay. Hi, baby. Okay, get down.
Oh gosh, here comes Jordan. Crap.
Uh-oh. Say hi, baby.
You want to say hi to Mama? He's like laughing and smiling and running here. Here. Say hi. That's Maya. Maya means river. This is Jordan. And no, we did not plan that.
Jordan River.
Hold on me, you little stink. Oh, you knocked it over. You gotta be careful. Here.
Look at Jordan. Say hi,
Hi.
Jordan.
Tell Mama hi. Okay.
Hi, Jordy. Okay. All right. High five.
Please look.
Give mommy a high five. How about that? Good girl. Okay. What verse are we in? Okay, here it is. Verse 18. And let Jehovah be jealous for his land and spare his people. Stop, baby.
Read that again. You were cutting out.
Okay. Okay. It says, and let Jehovah be jealous for his land and spare his people. And let Jehovah answer and say to his people, see, I am sending you the grain and the new wine and the new oil, and you shall be satisfied by them. And no longer do I make you a reproach among the Gentiles. So he is like, do you want to explain what he's saying with the new wine and the new grain?
The new wine and the new grain is what we're telling you. Because the way that he speaks through his people because he's in us, right? So we're giving you new wine, right? New drink, and new grain, which is like new food, right? And man shall not live by bread alone. Bread is made out of grain. So
That's what he's talking
we
about.
need to cry out and ask him to spare his people. And it might seem like, okay, well, why do I need to do that? This isn't affecting my life. There's going to come a time when stuff is going to get bad. And
Real
it might be Elohim is at work in us to speak to you so that when that time comes, you're not afraid because you've turned back to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it says, and the northerner I shall remove far from you and drive him away into a dry and deserted land. Excuse me, with his face toward the eastern sea and his rear toward the western sea. And his stench shall come up, and his smell rise, for he has done greatness. Do not fear, O land, be glad and rejoice, for Yahweh has done greatness.
Do not be afraid.
Do not fear, you beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness shall spring forth, and the trees shall
That's the people.
bear fruit.
His people
Wow.
rising up,
Yeah,
bringing forth.
right. Speaking the truth.
I'm going to read a verse here in a second, but just go ahead.
The fig tree and the vine shall yield their strength. Wow. And you children of Zion, be glad and rejoice in Yahweh, your Elohim, for he shall give you the teacher of righteousness, and cause the rain to come down for you, the former rain and the latter rain as before. So
Maybe that's why this flood is happening, because he's
in the
trying to
beginning,
send a message.
he is the teacher.
He says in a verse, "Let my instruction fall as rain." I think it's in Deuteronomy. I think Moses said that. Deuteronomy 32. But
You want to go to it?
no, I mean, let's just stay on this.
All right. And the threshing floors shall be filled with grain, and the vats, that word.
That's what wine is stored in.
Does that sound familiar?
That, V-A-T-S.
VATS.
Yeah, that's like what wine is stored in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
why does it make me think of the wedding feast when he turned the water to wine? Wow.
And it says, shall overflow with new wine and oil. Then I shall repay.
Oil has to do with the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, Elohim's Spirit.
And the threshing floor shall be filled with grain, and the vats shall overflow with new wine. Yeah. are the vats because he's storing.
The
in the
reason why we believe what
but,
I'm telling you is new wine is because you don't hear a lot of people sharing this.
but what you're saying, like that's like where he stores new wine up and oil. The
Yeah,
foolish virgins and the 5 wise virgins, the ones who took their lamps and
they
had oil,
understood.
took their lamps
They
and didn't
saw
have.
it
That's
coming,
what I'm talking about.
and they didn't want to give away their oil because then they wouldn't, their lamp wouldn't be lit.
Right,
But they
right,
said, basically go to Elohim, the one who can give you the oil, so your lamp
right.
can be lit. It has to do with the story of Hanukkah. Read Maccabees 1 and 2, and you'll understand what the
Yeah.
foolish virgins and wise virgins is about.
Okay, verse 25. What, baby? What? Okay, I'll fix it. Then I shall repay you the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the crawling locust and the consuming locust and the gnawing locust, my great army I sent among you. Then you shall eat and be satisfied, and shall praise the name of Yahweh your Elohim, who has done with you so wondrously. My people shall never be put to shame. That's a good thing. Yay! And you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahweh your Elohim, and there is no one else. Thank you, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna fix it. And after this, it shall be that I pour out my Ruach, his Holy Spirit, on all flesh. All flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men dream dreams, men see visions. And I also, on my servants, I shall pour out my Ruach in those days. On all flesh, he's saying. And I shall give signs in the heavens and upon the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun is turned into darkness, the moon into blood, before the coming of the great and awesome day of Jehovah. Yahweh. And it shall be that everyone who calls on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there shall be an escape, as Yahweh has said, and among the remnant whose Yahweh calls. For look, in those days, at that time, when I turn back the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, then I shall gather all Gentiles and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat,
Hear me.
and I shall enter into judgment with them. Therefore, my people and my inheritance Israel, whom they have scattered among the Gentiles, and they have divided up my land, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a young man for a whore, and sold a girl for wine, and drank it. And also, what are you to me, O Tesor, and Sidon, and all the coast of Pelisheth? Are you repaying me? And if you are repaying me, I would swiftly and speedily return your reward on your own head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and brought my treasuries into your temples.
Here, read that
Wow.
again. Yeah, you were cutting out, kind of. Read that last verse.
Yeah, I'm about to. Yeah. Okay. And also, what are you to me, O Tesor, and Sidon, and all the coast of Pilisheth? Are you repaying me? And if you are repaying me, I would swiftly and speedily return your reward on your own head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and brought my treasuries into your temples. So he's talking about us. And also during the time of 70 AD, which Whitney commented and said, they have taken us they've taken us as slaves and brought us back into their land. And the people of Judah and the people of Jerusalem, you have sold to the sons of the Greeks to remove them far from their borders, See, I am stirring them up out of the place to which you have sold them. Ooh, America. Let me think of the U.S. Wow, because the U.S. was founded on slavery. Like so many different kinds of people were brought here as slaves. So, see, I am stirring them up out of the place to which you have sold them, and I shall return on your own head what you have done, and shall sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the people of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Shebites, to a nation far off. For Jehovah has spoken. Proclaim this among the Gentiles. Prepare for battle. It's talking to us. Wake up, the mighty men. Let all the men of battle draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Ow.
Yeah.
Let the weak say, I am strong. Hasten and come, all you Gentiles, and gather together all around.
Nation. That's what Gentile means.
Hasten and come, all you Gentiles, all the people that are scattered among the nations, and gather together all around. Oh, let your mighty men come down here. Let the Gentiles be aroused and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there shall sit, for there shall I shall sit to judge all the Gentiles
Hey, Crystal.
what?
Yehoshaphat means, that word means judgment. So he's saying, let them all come to the valley of judgment. Which
Wow.
makes me think of the UN meeting up.
Oh yeah.
Because they're the ones who have the power over the nations, basically.
Oh my.
In leading the people, is what I mean.
You want to continue on reading real quick?
What verse are you in?
13.
What chapter? 3?
Yeah.
Okay. And we are in Joel chapter 3, verse 13. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Put a sickle. Sickle is what you gather fruit with. For the harvest has grown ripe, meaning it's ready. Come, go down, for the winepress is filled. The vats overflow, for their evil is great. Crowds, crowds, in the valley of decision, for the day of Jehovah is near in the valley of decision. Sun and moon shall become dark, and stars shall withdraw their brightness. And Jehovah shall roar from Zion and give forth his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Jehovah shall be a refuge for his people and a stronghold for the children of Israel. Then you shall know that I am Jehovah your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain, and Jerusalem shall be holy, and foreigners shall not pass through her again. And it shall be in that day that the mountains drip with new wine, and the hills flow with milk. And the streams of Judah shall be flooded with water, and a fountain flow from the house of Jehovah, and water the Wadi Shittim. Egypt shall become a ruin, and Edom a ruin, a wilderness, because of violence done to the people of Judah, whose innocent blood they shed in their land. Yet Judah shall dwell forever, in Jerusalem, to all generations. And I shall avenge their blood, which I have not avenged. And Jehovah shall be dwelling in Zion. Wow, that's how it ends. I wanted
So,
to read a real quick from John 4.
okay, while you I was thinking about playing that song. Hold on.
You're what? What'd
Wanting
you
to
say?
play that song. Hold on.
Yeah. Let me
But if we can just play it, I'll read it.
yeah, it's just a quick verse.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. This is in John 4.
You want to read? Let's read the whole thing.
Okay, we can read the whole thing. I just wanted to read about the woman at the well,
Okay, read that. Yeah.
which has to do with the water of life. Like, we'll just read it. So when the Adon knew that the Pharisees had heard that Yeshua, Adon means like master, that the Pharisees had heard that Yeshua made and immersed more Talmudim than Yohanan. Okay, let me read it in English. Made
Yeah.
and baptized more disciples than John, although Yeshua himself did not immerse, the word for that is baptize. That's what people think of today. But his disciples were the ones who were immersing people, right? He left Judah and went away again to Galilee, and he had to pass through Shamaron. So he came to a city of Shamaron called Shechem, near the piece of land Jacob gave to his son Joseph. And Jacob's fountain. Oh, wow. Dude, Genesis 48. Joseph is a fruit-bearing tree by a fountain. His branches run over a wall. And here
Wow.
you have the Messiah going in,
That's
coming to the city of Shamaron, Samaria, called Shechem, near the piece of land that Jacob gave to his sons Joseph.
Joseph.
Okay, and Joseph is a tree by a fountain, right? Jacob's fountain was there. So Yeshua, being wearied from the journey, was sitting there at the fountain. It was about the 6th hour. A woman of
Yeshua,
Samaria,
Yeshua means
Shamarim,
salvation. It also
yeah,
is a name in Hebrew for the Messiah.
yeah, that's what his
Yesh-
mom called him, Yeshua.
Yeshua.
Yeah. A woman of Shamarim came to draw water. Yeshua said to her, give me to drink. For his disciples had gone off into the city to buy food. The woman of Shamaron, Samaria, therefore said to him, how is it that you, being a woman of Shamaron, wait, hold on, rewind, I skipped. The woman of Samaria, Shamaron, therefore said to him, how is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a woman of Shamaron, Samaria? So even back then, you had racial tension going on.
Yeah, yeah.
For Yehudim, Jews do not associate with
Oh,
Shamaronite, Samaritans. Yeshua answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of Elohim and who it is who says to you, give me a drink,
give
you
me
would
to
have
drink
asked him and he would have given you living water.
water.
Then the woman said to him, Adonai, which means like Lord, Adonai, you have no vessel and the well is deep. From where then do you have living water? It's his words that he's speaking. That's the living water. Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well? Okay, so her father was Jacob, and she was a Samaritan, right? So you had tribe against tribe, basically, at that time. And drank from it himself and his sons and his stock. Yeshua answered and said to her, everyone drinking of this water shall thirst again. But whoever drinks of the water I give him shall certainly never thirst.
Ah,
And the water that I give him shall become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life. The woman said to him, Adonai, give me this water so that I do not thirst, nor come here to draw. See, people get so stuck on focusing on the physical stuff, they forget, they don't pay attention to the spiritual stuff, right? So she's like, over here, give me some living water. like thinking about physical water. The woman answered and said, rewind. The woman said to him, Adonai, give me of this water, so that I do not thirst, nor come here to draw. Yeshua said to her, go, call your husband and come here. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yeshua said to her, you have well said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband. Well, we know that Elohim is like the bridegroom coming out of his dwelling place when he comes back, and Israel is like a bride. So maybe Israel right now is trying to be married to a false god that's not really their husband.
That's true. That makes sense. It does.
What you have said is true. Okay. The woman said to him, Adonai, I see that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that, okay, this is what gets me. But you say that in Jerusalem is the place where one needs to worship. How? I did not read anything about him saying that Jerusalem is the place where one needs to worship. So obviously something was taken out of this text. Because you don't read of anything him talking about Jerusalem as a place that one should worship.
Yeah.
So some words were, I don't know. Anyways, Yeshua said to her, woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you shall neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. 70 AD. You worship what you do not know. We worship what we know because the deliverance is of the Yehudim, meaning the 12 tribes. But the hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father also seeks such to worship him. Elohim is Ruach, spirit. Elohim is spirit. And those who worship him need to worship in spirit
and in truth.
And Elohim is spirit, right? So they need to worship him in Elohim and truth. The woman said to him, I know that Mashiach is coming, the one who is called anointed. When that one comes, he shall announce to us all. Yeshua said to her, I who am speaking to you am he. And upon this, his disciples came, and they were marveling that he was speaking with a woman. However, no one said, why do you seek? Or why do you speak with her?
It says, what do you seek?
Oh, yeah. What do you seek, or why do you speak with her? The woman then left. Look, Elohim's ways don't change. He's spoken to us, and we're speaking to y'all, telling y'all everything. Just like the woman at the well.
Yeah.
The woman left her water jug, went away to the city, said to the men, come see a man who told me all that I have done. Is this not the Messiah? They went out of the city and were coming to him. But in the meantime, his disciples were asking him, saying, Rabbi, eat. And he said to them, I have food to eat of which you do not know.
Oh, wow.
Then the disciples came to each other. Did anyone bring him to eat? They're caught up on the physical. Yeshua said to them, my food is to do the desire of him who sent me and to accomplish his work. Do you not say there are still 4 months and the harvest comes? See, I say to you, lift up your eyes and see the fields, for they are white with harvest already. Talking about people. Harvest and gather the people.
Yeah.
For in this, the word is true. One sows and another reaps. I sent you.
You need to go and you need to 36.
He who is reaping receives a reward and gathers fruit for every everlasting life. That's people. So that both he who is sowing and he who is reaping rejoice together. Wow. You want to read? 37.
Yeah, word is true. No, one sows and another reaps. So that's like the Father and the Son. I sent you to reap. That's the Ruach in us. That for which you have not labored. Oh, well, hold up. I sent to you to reap that for which you have not labored. Others have labored, and you have entered into their labors. And many of the Shemaronites, the Samaritans of that city, believed in him because of the word of the woman, who witnessed, he told me all that I have done. Therefore, when the Samaritans came to him, they were asking him to stay with them. And he stayed there for 2 days. And many more believed because of his word. And they said to the woman, we no longer believe because of what you said, for we ourselves have heard, and we know that this is truly the Messiah, the Savior of the world. And I know, baby, hold on. And after the 2 days, he left there and went to Galil. For Yeshua himself witnessed that a prophet is without appreciation in his own country. Therefore, when he came to Galil, the Galileans received him, having seen all that he had done in Jerusalem at the festival, for they also went to the festival. So on some of the feast days, it was like people from other nations went to Jerusalem on God's feast. So it says, for also went to the festival. Then Yeshua came again to Cana of Galil, to a city in Galil, where he had made the water wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Caphar. When he heard that Yeshua was in Judah and Galil, he went to him, asking him to come down and heal his son, for he was about to die. Yeshua then said to him, if you do not see signs and wonders, you do not believe at all. The nobleman said to him, Adonai, come down before my child dies. Yeshua said to him, go, your son lives. And the man believed the word that Yeshua spoke to him and went. And while he was going down, his servants met him and reported, saying, your son lives. He then asked from them the hour in which he became better. And they said to him, yesterday at the 7th hour, the inflammation left him. Then the father knew that it was at the same hour in which Yeshua said to him, your son lives. And he himself believed in all his household. Again, this was the second sign Yeshua did when he had come from Judah into Galilee.
Mashiach is coming.
Yeah, he's coming soon.
He's coming. Like, we need to wake up. Jordan! Sorry.
There's like one verse I'd like to read real quick, and then we can go ahead and close it with a video.
A video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey! Stop hitting the door with your vacuum.
Aw, little man.
Stuck on that little vacuum.
Oh. Oh my God, what is... Okay, there we go.
You want me to... What video do you want to show?
I was gonna put... Hold on.
Okay. Do you want me to do it? Because every time you do it, it's like cutting out.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do it. That's
Okay,
fine.
you find the verse.
Okay, I found it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
gonna
post
go
the
ahead and
video.
read it.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to read to y'all real quick. Matthew 5:17, and like normally we, of course, you read the whole and get a better understanding, but I wanted just to go ahead and read this real quick because we have babies. So here it is. I'm going to read a little bit before. It says, "Rejoice and be glad." This is Matthew 5:12. "Rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the heavens is great. For in this way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." So he's talking to us as well. "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use but to be thrown out and to be trodden down by men. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house." So, like, me and Whitney, like, speaking to y'all,
We're a lamp
we're
shining
the
to the house,
shining
which
to
is
the house.
you. Yeah.
Right, right. So, and it says, "Let your light so shine before men, so that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the heavens. Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah, the law, which was written
The
by Elijah,
covenant, the promises, the covenant.
or the prophets." So he's saying, do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete, to fulfill. For truly I say to you, till the heaven and the earth pass away, one rod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah, the law, till all these be done.
So yeah, when it's all completed, then heaven and earth are going to pass away.
Right, right. And it says, "Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men, so shall be called least in the reign of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the heavens. For I say to you that unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall by no means enter into the reign of the heavens."
Yeah. Don't teach people to disobey the commands, is what he's saying. They will be the least in that kingdom.
Right, 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 right.
It's plain as day.
So, and it says also right here, "You heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment." So, Whitney, are you ready?
Yeah, I also wanted to play that new covenant video too.
Oh, Joshua Aaron?
Yeah. I'll play that and then I'll play Hold On,
Okay, that's fine.
because it goes with what we've talked about today.
Yeah, yeah.
Maximum volume. Jeremiah.
It's going to be backwards.
31, verse 31
Yeah,
to 34.
want me to just play it on mine?
Behold, the days are coming, says the Lord.
Yeah,
When I will make a new covenant with the
I'll
house
do
of
that.
with the
because
house
I
of
can't
Judah.
turn my camera around.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. My covenant, which they broke, though I was a husband to them, says the Lord. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, says the Lord, I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts. And I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No more shall every man teach his neighbor, and every man say, know the Lord, for they all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, says the Lord. For I will forgive their
can't hear it.
It's better this way though.
Yeah, but you can't hear what he's saying. Yeah, you can't hear it.
Stop it, cowboy. Can't hear.
Crystal. Crystal,
Yeah.
hold on, because for some reason you can't hear it on your side.
You can't?
I'll play Hold On.
I am.
No, I said let me play it because you can't hear it. It's like cutting out.
Okay.
Okay. Whoever has an ear, let him hear. This is a song sung by people brought over to the U.S. who believe the truth.
Come here, Mom.
No, let me come in. Doors are fastened in the
Maximum volume.
keep your hand on that plow. Hold on. Noah said you done lost your track. And how straight keep a looking back. Keep your hand on that plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on that plow and hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your hand on that plow and hold on. He had a golden chain, every link spelled with Jesus' name. Keep your hand on that plow and hold on. Oh, that chain and never tire. Every round goes higher and higher. Keep your hand on that plow. to heaven, I'll tell you. Keep your hand on that gospel plow. Keep your hand on that plow. Just hold on. Hold that chain and never tie. Every bound goes higher and higher. Keep your hand on that plow and hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your hand on that plow. Just hold on. Hold on, hold on, keep your hand on that plow. Keep your hand on that plow. Keep your hand on that plow. And